Think different, live different. V180.
V180.
It's your Saturday simulcast and a very special guest show today as we are catching up with husband and wife duo Wes and Callie. You probably know them as NONAH. We're playing a few songs of theirs upside down right here on V180. Now, Wes is a very talented producer. Callie is an amazing singer. Together, they form the band NONAH. But first, guys, how you doing?
We're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing great. It's holiday season.
Yes.
So, and we have 2 kids, so it's all the things. There's school celebrating and, Thanksgiving plans, at least for us here in America. So we're doing great.
Yeah, you guys have Thanksgiving and then Christmas straight after and all the Christmas parties. It's a hectic time of year, hey?
Yes, at least, because it's, what season is it in Australia right now? No?
It's heading into summer, so yeah, it's getting pretty hot here.
Okay, yeah, we have some friends who are from Australia in our local church, and one of them is going back to Australia, and he said it was going to be summer in December, which is right. So I was trying to think, I think it's heading into summer for you guys, and we're heading into winter here.
Yeah,
so
it's completely opposite, hey?
It is.
We've never had you guys on V180 before, so first, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Who is NONAH, and what's your roles in the band?
My name's Callie, and my husband is Wes, and we are the ones that make up NONAH. When did we?
Probably late 2019.
Yeah, I think it was about 2019 that we started using the name NONAH.
Yeah. We were previously creatively called Wes and Callie.
Yeah. Very original. Love it.
High creativity in the name.
High creativity in the name.
And then we switched to NONAH in around 2019.
Yeah. And gosh, it's crazy to think it's been, 5 years doing that. I mean, Callie and I have led worship together and done ministry in different contexts for years now and written songs. But we moved to Nashville 6.5 years ago. And with that move, one, felt Jesus calling us to the city, but then also felt him calling us to start to be more intentional about writing songs and putting them out and doing the artist thing. And he's been really gracious and kind and faithful in the journey. And for us, the music is just a means to an end. The end is to see people look more like Jesus, encounter him, become disciples of him. And so if we can use music to be a tool to do that, then that's the goal. And we're blown away by the testimonies we get, the encounters people have with God. I mean, music is one of those few universal languages. Even if you don't understand the language being said, a lot of times you can understand the spirit behind it. And so we're always thankful when people feel the Holy Spirit behind our songs, because that's our prayer.
Yeah. And then as far as just kind of what each of us does, we both write and write songs. We both sing, and then Wes produces and plays. You can expand on this, but plays lots of different instruments. I'm actually enjoying you try to explain this. You're doing a great job. But yeah, I would say we both write, we both sing, and you kind of handle the playing of the instruments and the production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I get the privilege now of getting to write and work with a lot of different Christian artists, Christian labels, and even people in the mainstream, which I have a huge heart for that, just evangelism wise.
Awesome.
And God puts me in some pretty unique situations in different writing rooms. But I get to collaborate and produce and work with other artists. So it's fun to get to do it with my wife, with Callie, and make music together. And again, let that be a ministry. So I'll play whatever instrument needs to be played to get the song across the finish line. But that's kind of what it's looked like so far.
Wow, you're so talented. We're going to continue chatting to them, and I'll find out. I'd love to know, guys, how you work together as husband and wife, full-time, creating music and living and doing life together. That is on the way. Right now, though, let's get into the music. Grace Binion and Joe L. Barnes, Nothing I Have to Hide at V180.
I've been getting frustrated with the walls around.
Planet Boom all around the world, right across Australia for your Saturday simulcast with Mel, and joined today by husband and wife duo from the band NONAH. It's so great to have your company on V180, guys. Now, I would love to know, I don't actually think I've spoken to any other band that is a husband and wife duo, plenty of sibling bands, but I'd love to know how you work together. How do you write songs as husband and wife? Do you like it? How does it all work?
That's a great question. We love working together, actually, and we pretty much always have.
Yeah,
since we got married, we actually were in ministry together and did campus ministry on a college campus for a couple years, and have just been in ministry in different contexts. And so we've actually always really enjoyed it and and love it. And then we obviously do music together now, and love that as well. I would say when we first started trying to write together,
that trying was the key word, and that statement, trying,
would be hard.
We wrote our first song together, I guess the first year we were married.
Yes.
And we had these big plans. We were like, okay, we're going to block off a whole weekend and try and write a bunch of songs.
Oh, we called it a writing retreat.
We did. We're going to have a writing retreat like at our apartment. And we thought we were just going to write several songs and, all this. And basically 2 days later, we still have barely finished one song that we're not even sure if we like. And
we've taken 5 walks to process how we both operate creatively and have different melody ideas and preferences. So it's definitely been a journey, but like Callie said, we do love working together, and that's what we've known, and it's just been awesome. And it's been a journey musically to figure out. And I will say, and I will admit this on the air, I have been a huge part of the problem, so to speak, because I try to put a lot of different musical ideas in one lane, and God, through being able to now work with other artists and write other types of songs, R&B songs, I'm now not trying to make NONAH be all things to all people in terms of genres. And so we're able to, and we both love different styles of music for sure. So, and you hear that in our songs, but that has helped as I've grown myself as a musician and working with other people. Okay, this is what NONAH needs to be in terms of what we're doing together as a husband and wife, as a ministry, as artists. And that's been helpful as well. But it's been a 10, 12 year, we've been married 12 and a half years. So it's been a journey of
learning how to write together, learning just all of it. And, but it's really good.
Yeah,
we really love it.
Yeah.
So.
Now, we are joined from NONAH right now, Callie and Wes, all the way from Nashville. It's so great to have you guys on V180. Now, I'd love to know, what is your writing process right now? When you sit down to write a song, do you say, hey, I'm going to lock in this time, we're going to write a song together, or, what's your process?
Yeah, I would say it's a bit of both. I mean, sometimes we sit down, or a lot of times we sit down and write together, and it's, we've come a long way since that first year when we first got married, and
mainly in terms of time.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't take us
especially with kids,
an entire 2 days to barely get a song. So yeah, sometimes we'll do that, and then sometimes one of us will just kind of get an idea as we're spending time with God in the morning, and kind of work on something and bring it to the other and say, what do you think of this? And then we'll start throwing out ideas and finishing it. So I think it just kind of depends on the song.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll co-write with another person as well, who's a friend here in town.
Yeah.
Great, amazing writers who love Jesus and are gifted in what they do. And that's always fun too. So you bring another person and another perspective into it. So it's kind of a mix of it, but it's fun to have the varieties. I think it helps keep you fresh creatively. For sure.
Hello, Mel with you today, and a very special show as we are featuring NONAH, which is Wes and Callie, all the way from Nashville. Guys, it's so great to have you on the show. You've been so generous with your time. We love your song Upside Down. We're playing it right now at V180. Can you tell me how this one came together and what it's all about?
Yeah, for sure. That's a song. I remember start of the year this year. I was reading in Romans about not conforming to the patterns of the world, but renewing your mind. And, we have 2 kids, and so we're trying to do our best to point our kids to Jesus, look like Jesus, disciple them in the scriptures and by the Spirit of God. And parenting takes so much grace and mercy from God as your father, first and foremost. But the idea of what it looks like to not be of the world, but be sent into it. And the fact that before I met Jesus, man, really, I thought everything was in its right place, but is actually completely upside down. And God's world is the right side up version, but to me, it's upside down after you meet Jesus. And so it was this kind of whole picture of what does it look like to communicate some of my own testimony and Callie's story too, in this way that would, and we have at least the way we operate, Mel, is just thinking horizontal and vertical, wide and deep in terms of songs. And so some songs are going to be a more vertical and a song of depth. Others are going to be more wider nets. That my prayer is that it would go even beyond just a Christian space and draw people in. Upside Down would have been one of those songs where, hey, even if my neighbor who doesn't know Jesus hears this song, would it be something even music-wise, sonically, he'd be attracted to and want to listen to and kind of have more of that forward pop sense and vibe to it. So Upside Down was kind of a version of hitting that target, so to speak, of that Romans passage and that idea, and then with the sonic. And then I had a start to it, kind of got together to finish it and kind of tidy it up. And then we, finished it, put it out. I think it was in June. And again, the response has been amazing. And it's done some of that horizontal dynamic that I just mentioned, which has been really cool to see.
Yeah, love that. Let's have a listen to your track right now. It's Wes and Callie, NONAH, Upside Down, right here, Living Different at V180.
Found my habits way too hard to break, like watching reruns of my yesterday.
Now, we are joined today. We've got a very special show as we get to chat to Wes and Callie from the band NONAH, husband and wife duo. Now, you guys have just put out a Christmas song. It's called The King Has Come, and we are loving it. First of all, why did you decide to do a Christmas song, and can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah, we had talked about doing one for several years, and it just never quite happened or felt right, I guess. And this year we've been wanting to do it for a while, and we just thought we need to do this. We need to put one out, and we got together with a friend of ours and said, this is what's on our heart. We want it to evoke. We wanted to have a Christmas song that would really just evoke this feeling of awe and wonder and giving God the highest praise, all because Jesus had come. And so just really kind of trying to capture that was sort of the heart behind it.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like writing original Christmas stuff can be and hear me when I say this, a risky business, because there's so much Christmas stuff out there, and our heart is never just to add to the noise or just to check the box. Hey, we now have a Christmas song. Yeah. We really want to make sure, God, do you want us to do this? And if you do, then give us a song, and a friend of mine told me years ago, it's always better to birth a song than to write one yourself. And so our heart in writing, and even with the song, is God, could we birth a song and that would, like Callie was saying, cover that reverence, all the wonder, but also the victory and the triumph of that moment when Jesus was born. And so the King Has Come is our attempt in a simple, our prayer it'd be a congregational where people could get together and sing that together in worship to God. Would there be a weight, but also this release of, oh my goodness, do we really know what it means that Jesus has come to earth? And now it's no longer me who has to navigate my life, but it's Christ in me who's the hope of glory now that he is, risen and lived his life and all of that stuff. So that was our hope with the song.
Beautiful. Well, let's have a listen to it right now. It's a beautiful song. NONAH, The King Has Come at V180.
From a manger, the Son of God drew his first breath with heaven in his chest.
Mel with you, and we are joined by Wes and Callie from the band NONAH, husband and wife duo, all the way from Nashville. Now, I'd like to talk to you about your track, Put Down the Phone. Now, I know this one is a bit relevant to me, especially since I've got little kids, and I find sometimes I get bored sitting on the floor playing with toys, and I end up picking up my phone and starting surfing, or at night when I can't get to sleep, I'll just scroll on my phone, and I know that I need to put the phone down and just have some God time, or just have some time to zone out and just get my thoughts together. But I know this one is quite relevant. So can you tell us a bit about this one and what the meaning is?
We were thinking about people who have turned, well, and really all, like you're saying, I mean, we all need to put down the phone for various reasons.
I need that song for myself.
Because we all need it. But we were thinking specifically about people who are in bondage to things where they are trying to fill that void that only Jesus can fill. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy, whether, and we talk about, putting down the glass in the
second half of the chorus.
Yeah, in the chorus as well. Mm. And so no matter what someone's turning to, whether it's whatever form of addiction, whatever means they are looking to numb any emptiness or pain that they feel, we really wanted to write a song in that vein that encouraged people that, hey, there's something better. Like God loves you, and He can be the one who fills that place. He can be the one. Like, it's okay. You can put those things down because there's actually someone so much better who can actually heal the pain in your heart, who can actually fill the emptiness. And it's not going to be anything on a phone. It's not going to be any type of drink. It's not going to be any type of drug. It's not going to be anything that we could look to in this world that can fix the emptiness that we all have inside, that we need Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. And I think too, we tried to, and I remember when I started this song, we actually softened it a little bit because we wanted to capture the right heart posture. But I was more direct with putting down the phone at the beginning, but then we added the "it's okay" part, and realizing that when someone's in bondage, it really is so hard to break free. You actually can't in your own strength. Yeah. It's only by the Spirit of God. Yeah. And so someone just being reassured, hey, it's okay to put it down, and then actually answer the phone call, so to speak, the call that's most important that you'll ever receive, which is Jesus Christ calling you home. And so our hope is that the song would actually be able to reach into people's situations, to their bondage, to their addictions, and kind of sober them in that moment when they listen to it, to consider, wait a second, maybe there is someone better than what I'm using to medicate or to numb the pain that I'm feeling, or whatever it might be. Yeah. And turn to Jesus. Again, one of those kind of horizontal songs we mentioned before. So that was kind of the concept. And then our hope was that it would reach into the situations and help pull people out of it.
And you guys have brought out a beautiful Christmas song. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you check it out. The King Has Come. We played that a little while ago. You also brought out another great song called Find My Way Home. Can you tell me a little bit about this one and how it all came together? Yeah.
That we've had some songs that have funny, stories behind them in different ways. This one was unique because actually a friend of ours who has a ministry and a business called Famous at Home. They're an incredible couple, Josh and Christy Straub. They actually reached out to me to write a 30-second to 60-second intro for a podcast they were launching, and a podcast season and a rebrand for their business. And so I started with what's the chorus of Find My Way Home, and I sent it to them. And inevitably, the studio that we have is in our house, and Callie's hearing the song, and they're hearing the song for the first time, and they loved it. And then Callie's coming in saying, I actually really like this song. Maybe this, I
really like this.
Maybe we should build this out more. And then our friends, Josh and Christy, who own that business and the ministry, they were with some other friends who are also artists. And he joked in the car, they listened together. He said, they're going to turn this into a full song. I didn't know that until after the song was done. And so I remember, sitting there and thinking, we should try to flesh this out. I called Josh to have that conversation. Hey, what if this was a full song and maybe we did it as NONAH and kind of partnered together to release it? And so Callie and I, we actually ended up writing the song while she was grocery shopping.
Yeah, we needed to go ahead and make a decision if we were going to finish the song or not. And so, but we were about to go out of town. And so I said, well, I have to go to the grocery store and
this is real life.
get all of our
So
food
good.
before we leave town. So he's like, okay, well, I'll stay at home and see, what progress I can make on the song. So the whole time I'm grocery shopping, I'm just getting voice memos, and calling him back with feedback, and what about this? And I think it needs to be like this. And, a few hours later, we were like, okay, I think we like this. We're going to finish it. We're off to a good start. And then we ended up finishing it when we came back in town. But that was...
Yeah, and I'll say this in kind of wrapping that. The unique thing to us about that song, and this is what made it finally kind of work in the lane that we have as artists, is there's a few different ways that you can listen to the song and the lenses. So it's written so it could be viewed through a need for reconciliation in a marriage. It's also written where if someone doesn't know Jesus, they would find their way to him for the first time, that he would be home for them. And then the third lens would be if someone already knows Jesus, but then has wandered off, that he or she would find her way home in that way. So we tried to, how do we cover these multiple routes where it all makes sense and none of them feel watered down. And so when someone hears it, it would kind of have that dynamic and reach. And so we try to fight for that. And again, the feedback we've gotten in terms of just people, messaging us or whatever it might be, the testimonies have been in all those three different lanes, which to me is just, that's some of the best parts of music, is not streaming numbers and all the things maybe that people see. It's stuff that people don't, that we get to hear and pray into and celebrate and join them in celebrating. So that's kind of the at least a little bit how the song was created and the heart behind it and the hope and people hearing it.
Beautiful. Let's have a listen. It's NONAH, Find My Way Home, right here, Living Different at B180.
Feels like 1,000 times that I've wandered off. I think I'm right, but I'm lost. Then I find myself in a distant place. How to get this way?
Now, continuing our chat with Callie and Wes from the band NONAH. I never actually asked you guys, where did the name NONAH come from? How did you get that name?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yes, that is a great question. We mentioned before that initially we were Wes and Callie, and we were thinking, we were feeling like we needed to rebrand and come up with another name, and had been praying about that.
And I'll say this real quick, just try to jump in there.
Yeah.
But one thing we noticed about ourselves is we don't do a great job of promoting ourselves. And so anything with and this is not even a lesser or greater or right or wrong. It's just we noticed that about ourselves.
Yes.
And so having an umbrella that we could be under and operate within just helps us. Yeah. And we learned that through ministry as well. So that was that was a huge part of it, was we're having a harder time. Yeah. And it's our names. I mean, we are us. But it wasn't landing.
I get that in radio as well, because like the show is named after your name, and it's weird kind of, promoting yourself. So
yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we had been praying about what we should rebrand to, what the new name should be. And Wes had the idea, Wes ended up having this idea of NONAH. And the reason he thought of it was, and everyone always laughs at this because it sounds like it's going to be some, crazy deep meaning, but our kids were 3 and 2, I think, at the time. And for whatever reason, our 2-year-old daughter at the time, that's what she would call milk from the fridge. Whenever she wanted a glass of milk, she just would say, "Ma NONAH, please." I want NONAH.
Which translation is more NONAH, please.
Yes, and and so then her brother starts calling it the same thing, and so for several years, there was much talk of NONAH in our house, and so Wes said, "What if we renamed and called ourselves NONAH?" And I was like, oh, I like that. And I'll just rewind a little bit. One thing we really wanted in the name was we wanted something that was going to remind us of what it meant to be a child before God. Because, we want to have a childlike faith, a childlike heart before God. And we just love how kids are so unashamed in their worship of God. They're not caring about what other people think. They're just so unhindered in their worship. And so we knew we wanted a name that was really going to remind us of what it meant to be a child before God. And so, I said, oh, I do really like that, because our kids walk around saying NONAH all the time. And that, at least for us, that's going to remind us. But I wasn't sure, because I was like, well, is that just going to be kind of random to everybody else?
Yeah.
And
long story short, God over a 72-hour period confirmed it 3 different times through seeing NONAH and hearing it in different places and contexts.
Wow,
it's
that's
just
so cool.
out of the blue, crazy.
Within 3 days, we'd never even heard that word before, and we heard it very specifically in different contexts 3 different times over 3 days.
That's so cool.
And
I love that.
The funniest thing to me was after, again, I feel like God confirmed it. I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone a week later and sharing with him some of what we just shared of how we came up with the name. And he said, bro, you will not believe this. I'm doing a photo shoot next week at Lake Nona in Florida.
Oh, wow.
I said, you've got to be kidding me. Number 4, like we needed another one. So that's just kind of one example of how God in his ways confirms things sometimes, at least for us in this context. And so, that's how we went on NONAH. And the name still reminds us to, like Callie said, be childlike before God and in faith and all that good stuff.
And drink some milk.
That's right.
Wow, we've had such a great time with you guys. Callie and Wes from the band NONAH, thank you so much for joining us on V180. And I better not take too much of your time, but I'd love to know what's next. Have you got a whole heap of songs lined up? Are you preparing anything for us for next year? What's NONAH going to be working on in 2025?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah. And if a heap of songs means an album, then we do.
You do? Amazing.
That's the goal for next year. So we are putting probably 8 to 10 songs together, and we're working on kind of the release calendar and schedule for that, but it will start in January. We'll probably do one song a month and then drop the last few all together in the summer.
Awesome.
So that's the plan. And we have a collection of songs, and we're always open to, if we write one and it's upgraded to another one, we'll swap it out. But no, we are excited to do that. And it will be a mix where this next one will focus more on what we call the corporate worship side of things. But there'll also be some of the pop style on there as well, because we just have a heart to do both. We always have had a heart to do both. Yeah. And so this album will really be our first attempt to think through kind of a long form project. And God has given us margin and grace. We're able to do music full time to be able to do that now. And so we're excited to be able to see what comes of that.
Awesome. We're excited to hear the tracks too. Thank you so much for your time on V180, guys, and all the best and Merry Christmas.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.